The Kiwi Ears Belle. Let's talk about it. The Kiwi Ears Belle is a sample sent out to me from Kiwi Ears Direct. It is a $30 budget space IEM that has a lot of similarities to another IEM, the Kiwi Ears Cadenza. Now, let's start by looking at the build quality, but there will be quite a few comparisons with that IEM. Build quality is pretty good for the price. It does have a metal faceplate, which adds durability to it. The shell is light, it feels comfortable, it isolates fairly well. It holds on to ear tips well. I think it's a handsome looking IEM shell. I don't know if it's completely filled in or not, but it feels super light. And if I had to guess, that it wouldn't be filled in. But all around, I like the look and feel of this. It looks kind of simple, easy to look at. Again, it's flat 2-pin cable connector, so swapping out cables for this is really quite easy. It feels durable, nice, and I have really no problems with the build quality of this IEM. And I think they've actually done a good job giving a metal faceplate for the added durability that it provides. These are the ear tips included. I feel that this is a fair assortment of tips at this price. This is a budget cable. It is terminated in a 3.5. It feels nice on the skin. It doesn't feel microphonic. It does have like a working, functioning chin slider. Again, it's not the most exciting cable out there, but it feels nice. It doesn't seem prone to tangle. It does have little blue and red stereo indicators on this. You can kind of see it on the other side with the red or the right termination, which is kind of nice. It's a fine cable, not super exciting, but I like it and I think it's a fair value. So as far as what this IEM is, it does have a very slightly different tonality to the Cadenza. It's an interesting IEM. Like sonically, it has nice bass, has a little bit more mid bass. It has good detail, good micro details. It's a nice tonality. It's fun and enjoyable. There are some issues, I feel like it has a nice warmth and fullness and punch to the sound. But at times there's a feeling that some of the mid-range are like slightly recessed on some of the more complicated tracks. It does have a fast driver and has nice treble at this price. I would say the treble is really nice at this price. But the problem with what might happen for some of you guys is that the tonality itself, the tuning of the IEM, might have you might have a slight problem with, despite it having a really, really nice driver. I feel like it might fatigue with loud treble forward music, but all around, like the mid range on this is a little bit off. Like it's kind of the heart of where the vocal clarity is done. Like a lot of instrument definition, it might feel slightly U-shaped in that. You might feel some of your vocals are a little bit scooped. Like you might have like a boxy or slightly nasally tone that I felt on some things. But all around, I'm being nitpicky about a really great IEM that has a lot of good things going on for it. Sonically, I think this is a great IEM, a great little treasure, especially at this price. It gets a full recommendation, but I really wanted to try to take the time and give you guys a good idea of how this sounds in my ear, especially because I do have a Kiwi Ears Cadenza and have reviewed that in the past as well. So, having said that, let's look at some graphs and kind of compare this to a lot of other IEMs in that budget space. All right, the Kiwi Ears Belle. Let's look at this graph. What you'll notice is that, like, if we normalize this is normalized at 300. So, like, you can tell the bass shelf's pretty nice and everything else is pretty nice. But it's this region right here that can kind of feel a little bit underneath. This can affect some things sounding slightly sibilant or slightly distant. A lot of it depends on where you're going to normalize this. Like if we normalize this at, say, 2000, you'll notice it almost looks like it has this gigantic, thick, rich bass shelf. And so it becomes almost like this warm style IEM with a lot of upper mids. There's a lot of other IEMs out there. Like this has a different tonality, like has nice technicalities, a nice driver, a nice tonality. But for those that are really focused on this mid-range clarity, This is a little bit more of a V shape. You can almost see the V starting at like 600. It kind of just goes up in both directions. But all around, it is a nice sounding IM, despite it being a little bit V. As far as other IMs that are a little bit like this, like the 7 hertz Critical 02, you'll notice that it has just a little bit more extended, like upper mids, a little bit more extended bass to notice. I like the Belle more. I think it has a nice tonality. I think it's a fun style set, but it's not like the technicalities are slightly better with nice details and nice air with a fun sounding set that has bass and like a kind of upper air and detail and extension is really quite nice on it. But it's one of those sets where like, is it really that much better? I think it's pretty good. I think it's better than most of the other sets I've had, and I've really enjoyed my time testing on it. But can I say that it's going to be the end all be all for everybody? I think a lot of it's just in the frequency response and how it's done. And the Belle comes across a little bit vocal forward, never really shouty, but it could be a little bit forward vocally for some. As far as other IEMs around this price, the cadenza, you'll notice these have very similar graphs. The Belle has a little bit earlier or later, depending on how you want to look at it, bass rise starting right around 500. But pretty much everything else looks the same, like almost exactly the same kind of graph, which is, I think, an interesting note. Like, if you're a fan of the cadenza, I do feel that the Belle is a upgrade. I mean, the cadenza, if you haven't really looked at it, has been around now for 3 years. And so when I last looked at pricing of these two, the cadenza was coming in at around $35 and the Belle is coming in at $30. So I think it provides a nice little update to the cadenza without making the cadenza obsolete. And again, different shell, different dynamics, different level of durability, which I think is a nice thing to have. But I know some people are going to be sad because the cadenza has lots of different faceplates you can choose from, like different colors. As far as other sets go that you compare this against, like you look at something like the Singolo and you might like, well, Jadis, why are you talking about the Singolo? Singolo's kind of been soft, no longer really updating. What you'll notice is there's this dip right here from like 300 to 100, and that's a little bit of extra mid-range. Now, if you're looking at something that's very flat, like super flat, and that's not really a whole lot more money, the Singolo has actually been on sale a lot. And so you might be able to score one of those IEMs for, like $30, $35, which I think has an excellent tonality. Like, this is a little bit more audiophile, a little bit more mids focused, a little bit less V-shaped. And I think that's kind of something to note. I mean, Kiwi does a lot of different tonalities. Like, something that is their kind of meta style tune set is the Kiwi Ears KE4. Now, granted, this is a lot more money. It's like $200, a little less used, but you'll notice like this region here, the upper mids is gone. The extra bass here in the Belle and the blue line and the super extended air and extension. It really makes the KE4 like a really nice little set with a little bit more subdued upper mids. It's a really nice set. That's something that I would really probably gravitate towards more than the Belle. But the Belle, that doesn't mean it's like a bad set. It's a nice, rich, cohesive sound. And I think it's a lot of fun, but I just wanted to point this out on a graph of like, what exactly does the Belle do? But is there an IEM that's like the KE4 that's super cheap? I don't know of anything in that budget space. So you kind of have to make concessions when you're looking at stuff of what you want, what you need in that market. Other IEMs to look at, like the original 7 hertz Sound 0, you'll notice that this is a lot more flat in this region. As far as like one of my benchmark sort of style sets is like the Tantrum Bunny. They both and you notice they both kind of have that same warmth. The Tantrum Bunny has a little bit more of this like air and extension up here. It has a little bit more of this detail here, a little bit less sub bass, has a little bit more of a cohesive sound, and I think it's a little bit cheaper. But I do think there's like, if you want to call them technicalities in the Belle, are pretty good, and it's pretty enjoyable and a really fun kind of engaging sort of a set, rather than something that's pushing a little bit more towards neutrality in the budget space. Being the Tantrum Bunny, I think build quality wise, the Belle is so much better. All right, let's rank this up. This is a nice, solid all-around set. There's a lot of other IEMs you can notice like around this price. Like the original cadenza, I think is not too much worse off. Like again, like if you look at these, they're actually right next to each other, and I didn't even plan that. But they're like the upper treble of the Belle is less scratchy. The sound stage and like kind of off the chart kind of stuff of the Belle, like the tuning, the driver, kind of the finer grain stuff of the Belle, I think it's nice. But like that mid-range clarity and detail is a little bit recessed. And there's people that like if you like the cadenza, I don't know if it's that much of an upgrade. You might be better saving up for something like the KE4 or like the Kiwi Ears Astral, rather than trying to upgrade to the Belle. But if you're looking at both of them now from a standpoint of like which one would I go for, like personally I would go for the Belle. I just think it's a nice little fun set that does a lot well. You know, the budget space is always something that's fun to play with. Like oftentimes I wouldn't find myself buying an IM like this, so I'm really happy I got the chance to experience it. To me, it represents a good value. I think it's super fun. It's engaging. It has an engaging, listenable factor that most IEMs at this price I listen to kind of drive me a little bit crazy. I think it's a pretty little set. I like the metal faceplates. This is something similar that you'll see with a lot of EPZ sets or Crin ear sets that kind of have that metal faceplate for added durability. I've never really broken a ton of IEMs, but I know a lot of people who have. So having something that has this added durability, I think gives added value for a lot of us. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about this IM. It's pretty good. Its tuning is a little bit different than the cadenza, but also in the same way, it's super similar with some nice finer grain details. It's a nice update to a 3-year-old IEM, but that's all I really got to say about this. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye for now.
Go!
Go!
Go on with you!